And welcome back to our final segment with Kimberly Campbell, State Director for Mississippi State Director with AARP, talking about some great subjects this morning. You know, when the whole COVID-19 thing started,
Yes.
it seemed like it originated, it was hitting hard in nursing homes,
right.
especially up in the Pacific Northwest, those areas out there. So if you have a loved one in a nursing home here locally, which, you know, there's cases that have been
Many of
down
us
here,
do, yes.
and a lot of people have questions regarding one, and there are 6 questions to ask, and,
Yes.
and we've got these, and we're going to talk about these today. If you have a spouse, sibling, parent, or other loved one in a nursing home, and I know you're worried about their safety and everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, COVID-19 has hit all of us.
Right.
This is just a new day for everyone. When it first hit, we were having a lot of problems with getting accurate information about what was happening from the nursing homes. And so one of the pieces of legislation that AARP really pushed with the state legislators were, we need those numbers. You know, a loved one should know if my loved one is at nursing home A, I should be able to call and get the information about, has there been an outbreak? If so, how many? You know, what precautions have you put into place? And at one point, that information was not being released. Thankfully, the governor agreed and made some changes, and so they start releasing those numbers and outbreak information to the public. And again, it was never about bashing nursing homes. We have some of the best nursing homes here in the state of Mississippi.
I've had several of them on my show.
Absolutely, and they do wonderful work. I mean, they really are doing God's work, in my opinion. But it was about just, you know, as a caregiver, you know, sometimes we tend to think about caregivers are just in the home. But many times you're a caregiver, even if your father or your adult child or your mother or your grandmother is in a facility, you're still that person's advocate. You're still that person's caregiver. So you needed full informed information to make the best decisions. Now, we also know that when COVID first hit, most of the nursing homes went completely, we're shutting it down. You cannot visit. Of course, we definitely understood that. That demographic was really hit hard. That's also the demographic that, unfortunately, if they do get COVID, they don't survive it well. And so we knew that needed to be in place. But we did want to make sure that the family caregivers knew what to ask. And again, it was about, you know, do you have enough PPEs in this facility? You know, if not, how can I help then? You know, are you, segregating those that have been infected and those that are not been infected? You know, what precautions have you put into place? How can we do virtual visits? You know, that's become really important.
Oh, yes.
Because those loved ones, they need that
contact.
That contact, even though they can't have the physical contact, even when they're nonverbal. You know, we were getting stories of what, you know, I was able to go to the window and my great aunt saw my face. It made a difference. You know, she just lit up. And so we wanted to make sure that we started putting some of those parameters in place. These are the questions you want to ask. How does this work? You know, is it a phone call? If I send you all an iPad, can you help my loved one get on the iPad so that I can see them through FaceTime? You know, or is it a situation where you have a facility to where certain times of day you can bring certain, you know, loved ones to a window and we can come on the outside and, you know, see them through the window. So it was about being creative, and it was really about caregivers and the nursing homes becoming bonded partners. Now we're shifting because some nursing homes are beginning to let people back into the centers, back into the facilities to visit. Right. So we've been telling families now the discussion is similar but maybe a little different. So the Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, the federal agency, they came up with some recommendations that they said you might want to have in place at the facilities before you start in person. One of the biggest things is that, has this facility gone at least 28 days without a new COVID-19 case? Are cases declining in the surrounding community? Have all the residents and staff been tested for COVID? Well, we can all imagine why this would be important to know.
Oh, yes.
Because that would let us know that it's not only flattening, but you're starting to decline. And so then, if all of that is taking place, then you may be able to say, okay, we may be able to start some type of limited visitation, you know. But you also want to ask, well, what kinds of check-ins are you going to have? Because again, if my loved one is there and I'm still feeling really fearful about COVID, I want to know, if you're saying you're going to start letting people in, are you testing their temperature? You know, what all are you doing? You know, how close?
Yeah, we do that when you come in the door.
Exactly. When I came here today, I had to get my temperature tested. You know, is everybody in there wearing a mask? You know, if someone's coming to see patient A, how do I know that my mother is safe? You know, is she going to be away from them? You know, how are you segmenting this out? So these are all things that you want to ask to make sure you have full information as to what's in place for the safety of your loved ones.
Well, and I love this questionnaire. Matter of fact, you can go on AARP's website and to aarp.org/caregiving.
Yes.
And there's a great list of, there's 6 questions here.
Yes.
Has anyone in the nursing home tested positive for COVID-19?
Right.
Yes.
And that's staff and residents.
Right, right. What is the nursing home doing to prevent infections? So, between the cleaning and everything. And I know there's a lot of companies right now that you can hire them to come in and to disinfect.
Yes.
I mean, they do that on airplanes.
Right.
And, between
Absolutely.
each flight.
Absolutely.
Does nursing home staff have the personal protective, the PPEs?
Yes. Yes.
And again, these are all things. And I see no reason why, as you said, a nursing home would feel get angry because you called and asked them these questions.
Absolutely,
because as you said, Kimberly, this is your loved one you're talking about.
This is your loved one. It's all about transparency. And like with anything else, you can imagine the nursing homes that are doing what they're supposed to do, they welcome this.
Yes,
they're
exactly.
like, yes, I have all the information that you need. Yes, I can help you figure anything else that you need to figure out as far as the care for your loved one. If you're getting closed information or very guarded information or really not return calls or no information, there's probably a problem there. That needs to be investigated further.
And it's I like this. If you are concerned about the safety and well-being of a spouse, parent, or other loved one who lives in a nursing home,
yes,
contact the Mississippi Ombudsman program.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a number there as well, and that you can get some information on. And also another great thing, how well staffed is this nursing home?
So important. I gave the analogy, and it's by no disrespect about, because sometimes people can get confused when I say this, about our older, wiser people in our population. They're not children, but the analogy that I gave is that when you get ready to send your children to like a nursery school, you want to know what's the staff to student ratio.
Right.
You want to know the safety protocols. To me, it is very similar when you've got a loved one in a facility. I need to know how well are they staffed, how well are they taken care of, and do they have all the, needed, protective personal equipment that they need.
Yeah, because you don't want one nurse or something having to deal with 20
because that's
different
how a lot of the exposure has been from the patients have gotten it from staff,
right,
or from nurses, and so that's really important to know.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming down here again and doing this very special segment on the show. Again, you can get some more information by going to aarp.org. The website's on your screen there. They've got all kinds of information on all these things that we have talked about today and so much more.
Yes.
So again, have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
And we will see you again soon.
I'll be back.
All right. Anyway, thank you again. If you have any more questions or information, you can go to aarp.org and get all the information that you need for your loved one or yourself.